Good morning to everybody. How you doing? Hope all is well. Keep up the beautiful work. Be'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach V'Yitromam. Today is Monday, Parashat Vayakel. It's a little peculiar that we're only reading Vayakel this week, also Parashat Para, which we'll talk about, but usually only when it's a leap year is Vayakel Pikudeh separated. This year is not a leap year, and we still have Vayakel and Pikudeh separated, which is something that doesn't always happen. A lot of different things happened this year. We had Asara B'Tevet on a Friday. We had Purim on a Friday. In Yerushalayim, they had Purim Mishulash. That hurt a little. Yesterday, if you noticed, we said Anna and Tahanunim. And in Yerushalayim, it was a celebration and it was Purim, and they were having the Seudah and the Hafle and the Ziyara. That made us expect and hope for the Mashiach even more. Here we are saying Echa Anna, and they're celebrating and dancing and having the Seudat Purim. And Shalom will all be in Yerushalayim Habnuya Bekarov. Another thing that's a little different this year, like we said, Vayakel and Pikudei are separated, even though it's not a leap year. And then Pesach falls out on a Saturday night, which means Saturday morning, there's going to be more opinions than the frogs in Egypt. There were more opinions when it came to the Seudah this past Friday. When do we have the Seudah? Do you have to wake up 3 in the morning? Do you have to have this? Could you have dairy? Could you have meat? What's the latest? What's the earliest? So if you thought there were a lot of opinions with that, there's also a lot of opinions, not minions, opinions on this Saturday morning of Erev Pesach. Why? Because you have to have bread on Shabbat. You have to have bread Seudah. And you're not allowed to have matzah on Erev Pesach. And you're not allowed to eat bread past a certain time, 10 something on that Saturday. So a lot of people wake up early, pray early, eat bread in the house. You have to have the edge sandwich, is part of tradition. In a pita bread, a Syrian bread, and then you take the crumbs and you throw it down the toilet, and you get rid of it, and then you come out, and then you say the necessary kal hamira, etc. That's what some people do. Another thing you could do, like we said, you're not allowed to have matzah on Erev Pesach, even from dawn. Ashkenaz, or not Ashkenaz, all Ashkenaz, but a lot of Ashkenaz and a lot of Hasidim won't eat matzah 30 days before Pesach. The halacha says only Erev Pesach, which means the night, Friday night, if you want to have matzah, you can, but technically it's not hamotzi according to us. Technically, we will talk more about it, but that's the halacha. But the custom for many is not to eat it 30 days before. Now, some of us are thinking, who's eating matzah anyway? Believe it or not, a lot of people eat matzah during the year. Yours truly, keep a box over here. It's good for the mental state, thinking that you're on a diet, Manjaro style, etc. And so we do eat matzah. The Ashkenaz make hamotzi on matzah all year long, and the tradition of the Sephardic is to make mizonot all year long and hamotzi only on Pesach. So now we can't have matzah that day. So what do? So there are some that say you take matzah on that day, even though we got time and we're going to talk about it closer. But if you're not allowed to eat matzah, then there is a way to still eat matzah in a permissible way, and it's still hamotzi, because once that 10:30 comes, the fifth hour into the morning that you're not allowed to have bread anymore. Once you can have bread, the matzah becomes hamotzi. It's like a totem pole, and bread is on the top of the totem pole. And once bread goes away because you can't have it on Pesach, then the next thing on the totem pole is the matzah, and the matzah becomes hamotzi. So what do? The rule, if somebody wants, they could take a whole slice of matzah. I don't think the round matzah would fit. If somebody has a pot of soup, you're allowed to take a whole slice of matzah, dip it in, don't leave it for too long. Then it's all going to turn into a matzah ball dance. How you doing? And then you take it out, because when you put it and you cook it, it's still hamotzi, since it's still a whole slice, and you're allowed to eat it because you're not allowed to have cooked matzah for the night of the seder. And the whole reason why you can't have matzah on Erev Pesach is because you have to eat it with appetite by the seder. But if it's cooked matzah, you're not allowed to have that for the seder. So it's still hamotzi, and you're allowed to have it on Erev Pesach, shehal b'Shabbat. That's why if someone has matzah meal and they make kibbeh, God should protect everyone. Today they already have different ingredients in the Pesach kibbeh that it's less dangerous. But when we were kids, God bless our grandmas, they should rest in peace. My grandma made maybe about 9,000 kibbehs on for Pesach. God bless her. She didn't have no machine. She used her finger for all of them, and she made two types. She made a whiter one, not because of the discrimination or black hat, white hat. We don't believe in that. That's in Neverland. However, there were shmura ones for the shmura people, and then whiter ones for the ones who eat non-shmura. And stolen waters do taste better because the shmura were delicious. However, the whiter ones tasted even better. So we said there's an eruv. You could have the non-shmura. How you doing? But we will talk about that closer to Pesach as well. But when they used to put them in the fryer, the fry daddies like they used to have in the 80s, they had to run out of the room because they would explode because the oil and the heat couldn't breathe. They had to go to Herman's to buy goalie gear, put on the goalie mask, put on the gear, and that's how they used to fry the kibbeh. Look what they used to do. Today, thank God it doesn't explode, because all they have to do is go to take their car, put it by a pump, walk into a store, buy a dozen kibbeh, and get a ticket, and then come home. So the only exploding is the husband from all the tickets on the windshield, but at least the kibbehs don't explode. God should protect everyone. So something that's fried, even though it's matzah, you're allowed to eat it on Erev Pesach as well because it's fried. And since it's ground and small portions, so you don't even have to make hamotzi on it. That's why bisli is also mizonot, the Israeli kosher for Passover one, and you're allowed to have it Erev Pesach, even though it's made out of matzah meal. But if it's something baked, if you have an old-fashioned Manischewitz cake that's made out of, today, 98%, even more, 99.99% of the items are made out of potato starch and tapioca starch, and it's all the cakes and products are shahakol. But if you do get yourself an old-fashioned matzah meal cake that's baked, you're not allowed to eat that Erev Pesach, even though it's ground and there's honey and sugar, etc., because it's baked. You're not allowed to have any matzah meal baked on Erev Pesach, but boiled or fried, you're allowed to. And that takes us to the halacha, which we speak about many, many times. That is French toast. Is it hamotzi? Tastes great, less filling. Is it hamotzi or is it mizonot? And the answer is it depends, like every other Jewish answer. What does it depend on? It depends on the size of the bread at the time of frying. If a person takes a whole slice of bread and fries it for the French toast, then it's still hamotzi. But if you cut it in pieces before you fry it, and you fry it, then it becomes mizonot. Sometimes by the brisses nowadays, they know everybody's in a rush to go to work, and they don't want, people don't really want to make hamotzi and birkat hamazon, so they make little cubes of French toast. And since they make cubes of French toast, it's mizonot because they're cubed before they fry it. If you cut it after frying, it doesn't count. Duh, because no one's picking up the French toast, at least by a bris, maybe in their house, but no one's picking up a French toast, whole slice with their hand and eating it. They're going to cut it into pieces. Cutting into pieces afterwards doesn't help, but beforehand helps. So when it's full, a whole kizayit and a whole slice of bread, then it's hamotzi, even though it's fried. If it's pieces, it's mizonot. So when you take that whole slice of matzah before and you cook it or fry it before it turns into pieces, so it's still hamotzi, and you're allowed to have it Erev Pesach. Now, I usually don't like to talk about Pesach so early, but God bless our women. The day Purim is over, the mattresses are upside down, everything's out. That's it. They start the Pesach cleaning. I never figured out why they have to stick toothpicks into the plug outlets to make sure there's no hametz in there. Last time I checked, there's no shawarma from the green chickpea inside of a outlet, a plug outlet. How you doing? But God bless the women. That's why we were redeemed from Mitzrayim, all because of the women. That was in last week's parashah. Did you wonder in last week's parashah that we read on Saturday, Parashat Kitisa, every item which we're going to talk about in this week's parasha as well, Vayakel, and next week's parasha Pikudeh, every item in the Mishkan was made out of gold items. The menorah was gold, the shulchan was gold, the mizbeach hazahav. Of course, it's gold. The Aron Hakodesh. You got to use the creme de la creme, the best metal out there. However, when it comes to the wash basin that the Kohanim used to wash their hands and their feet with, it was not made out of gold. It was made out of copper. And somebody might think, why copper? The answer is because Trump discontinued the penny, and now we got a lot of copper. So we took all the pennies and we're melting them to make the wash basin. No, that ain't the answer. The answer is we know that Moshe's father was the leader. He wasn't the leader by voting. He was just an angel like all of you. He was one of the few people in world history that never ever sinned. Imagine. And people, whatever he did, everybody did. And he ended up, God should protect us and show us only semahot. He divorced his wife Yocheved. He said, if we're married, Hashem will give us children. If we're not married, Mavi children. And now, if there's no children, Paro can't throw the children into the Nile River. So because Amram divorced his wife, many people divorced their wives. And it was a very bad moment for Am Yisrael, because if there's nobody born, what's going to
Why
be
is
with
my
the
volume
future?
off?
What's going to be in the future? Because we need the people, the Jewish people, etc. We can't be extinct. So there were a group of women. Paro was only throwing the boys. And by being not married, there's no boys or no girls. What happened? There were some women that found pieces of copper and they made themselves mirrors out of the copper. And they used the mirrors to make themselves all beautiful for their husbands. And they went to the Nile River and they found Hashem made little fish. Fish is a sign of reproduction. The wives came, they cooked fish for their husbands, they beautified themselves, and when the husbands came to tell them, honey, I shrunk the kids, honey, we're getting divorced, all of a sudden they looked at them and they said, no, we're not getting divorced. And they ended up keeping the Jewish nation, Baruch Hashem, intact. And it was these women that saved Am Yisrael and made Am Yisrael continue. Hashem says, those mirrors are so holy in my eyes. That's what kept the Jewish nation going. Take those mirrors, melt them. It was made out of copper, and use it for the wash basin that they wash their hands. The Kohen purifies himself with those mirrors. Imagine, it's kadosh, it's kedusha, and that's why the kior, the wash basin, was made out of copper. So since this holiday is to celebrate the exodus of Egypt, and since this holiday is we were saved because of the women. So when it comes to this holiday, when the women do their things, we have to keep our mouths closed. If they want to take out the light bulb and stick in a wet rag into the socket just to make sure Shema Yisrael, Hashem should watch us all, right? We have to, it's their holiday. We don't ask questions, but we definitely know they can't work too hard, because when they come to the Seder, there are women in Never Never Land that you say the word Pesach and they faint. There are women far away, right? That because they work too hard. So of course we have to take everything in moderation. Dust is not hametz, as we know, but it is a time that the women, springtime, they call it spring cleaning. But anyway, they already started. Why did the women start cleaning already? Because there's a halacha from Saturday and on, we were supposed to learn the laws of Pesach. Shloshim yom lefnei Hag, 30 days before Pesach, shoalim b'halachot Pesach. It's time to learn the laws of Pesach. The question is, does this apply to every holiday 30 days prior, or only Pesach? It's mahloket, but everybody agrees, of course, that it applies to Pesach. Why 30 days before? And 30 days before Pesach, if Pesach is the 15th of Nisan, that means the 15th of Adar, which was this past Saturday, is 30 days before, and that's when we're supposed to learn the laws, because there are a lot of halachot when it comes to the laws of Pesach, koshering dishes, dipping things, hametz, this, that. Someone cooked something, someone went in before, had to kosher the barbecue, had to do this, had to do that. Because there's so many halachot, so our rabbis instituted 30 days beforehand, we start to learn the laws. Not only that, but when you learn the laws at the right time, then you get extra reward. We all know Torah is the greatest reward. We all know that it's the greatest beracha, especially if you learn something of the Torah in that time. For example, the laws of Pesach, Pesach time, that's extra beracha from the Torah learning. When you learn the laws of Shabbat on Shabbat, that's extra beracha. That's why we have a Zohar the night before the Milah, Chala Shirbu Semahot B'Yisrael, because we take the excerpts of the Zohar where he talks about Milah, and we learn it in the house where the baby is. So that's extra beracha from the learning Torah. There's always beracha, especially when you have 10 men, and therefore we're learning the laws of Pesach now, where people are already starting to shop. The grocery stores, sometimes you want to just go in and get a chocolate bar. Hell, now things are starting to be kosher for Pesach. They throw everything in one aisle, and everything else becomes kasher la Pesach. There are people that give mishloach manot kasher la Pesach, which is a good idea. This way, the people don't have to get rid of it and give it to the chadamiyah. All the chadamiyah walking around like say, with all their sacks on their backs. How you doing? From all the fadlats of the mishloach manot. But anyway, like we said, 30 days before we start learning the laws of Pesach. Everybody loves Nisan. besides being the spring, also because there's Yehi Shem the entire month of Nisan, which is great. We should never, ever, ever know there's no eulogies in the month of Nisan. Hashem should protect us and just bring the Mashiach. If we were redeemed in Nisan, we're going to be redeemed again in Nisan, Be'ezrat Hashem. Why is there no Anna the entire month? Imagine 30 days no Anna. The answer is the first 12 or 13 days is Yehi Shem because of the past. The middle of the month is because of the present, and the end of the month is because of the future. What does that mean? Past, present, and future. Well, we know that everybody knows, especially kids who their bar mitzvah was Hanukkah time. We all know, the saying, Korbano karat kesef ahat. We know the korbanot of the Nesi'im. Is repeated in Parashat Naso. It's repeated 12 times. The Nisi'im, every day of the month of Nisan, they brought a korban. You see, they finished the Mishkan, which is in this week's parasha, and it was 2 weeks ago and 3 weeks ago. We have Tirumah, Tetzaveh, Vayakel, Pekudeh, four parashiyot that speak about the Mishkan. And we finished the Mishkan in the month of Kislev. However, they waited till Nisan to make the Hanukkah Bayit, to make the inauguration. First of all, the month of Kislev tells Hashem, what does that mean, the month of Kislev? There's an angel in charge of the month of Kislev. He tells Hashem, it's not fair. We finished the construction. It was supposed to be in the month of Kislev, and now it went to Nisan. That's not fair. And Hashem says, Baba, don't worry. There's going to be a holiday called Hanukkah, Hanukkah Mizbeach, Hanukkah Bayit, the inauguration. You're going to have the holiday forever and ever, even after Mashiach comes. Hanukkah is in Kislev. Imagine how fast time flies. Baruch Hashem, feels like yesterday. We're in the summer, and then we had Rosh Hashanah, Kippur, we have Hanukkah, Baruch Hashem, Tu B'Shvat, and now Purim. Time flies. We should take advantage, and God should protect us and give us beracha, Be'ezrat Hashem, Yitbarach. So it was supposed to be in Kislev, but Hashem gave a Hanukkah. Hashem waited till the month of Nisan. ¿Por qué? Because the month of Nisan is when Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov were born. The month of the Chodesh HaEtanim, when the Avot were born. And Nisan is Nisan. So therefore, they had the inauguration in the month of Nisan. Every single day, the Nasi, the PZ, the president of the Shevet, brought a korban on each day. So the first, second, third, all the way through the 12th was korbanot of the Nisi'im. And when the Nasi of that Shevet brought a korban, it was a hafle ziyada for the entire tribe. And then when the tribe celebrates, we all celebrate. So they had Yehi Shem on the first day, the second day, the first 12 days. The 13th day of the month is also part of the Nisi'im, because there's a rule in when it comes to the halacha of korbanot. If a person couldn't bring the korban on a certain day for whatever reason it is, the next day is what we call Isru Chag. You can make up the korban from the day prior. And since Isru Chag is a day you can make up the korban, it's also a happy day. And therefore, the first 13 days of the month is happy days. Therefore, we say Yehi Shem. The 14th is already Yehi Shem because of Erev Pesach. 14, 15, 16 for 7, 8 days of the month. So that already takes us till 21 about, and or 22. And then we have, so that's Pesach is the present, the Nesi'im is the past, and Mashiach is going to come, and the Beit HaMikdash is going to come down from heaven. It's already built, the third Beit HaMikdash. When are we going to make the inauguration for the third Beit HaMikdash? The last 7 days of the month of Nisan. So that's the future. So the beginning, first 13 days, Nisi'im. The middle days is Pesach. And the end of the month is the future that we're going to have the inauguration for the third Beit HaMikdash. And since the whole month is a month of Hafleh, a month of celebration, therefore we say Yehi Shem for the entire month of Nisan. We'll stop here for today. I'm very proud of everyone. Keep up the fabulous work. May we see Besorot Tobot, Yeshuot V'Nehamot. Hashem be with you always. Be safe and stay dry. All the best. Take care. Bye.